You guys all sitting in?
Yeah, I
cool.
guess so, yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
Rad. Super cool.
Yeah. For your audience.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, that logo is
All right.
These are cream of the crop students, man.
You guys machine users?
Yeah.
Any complete
Yeah.
little machine?
I use
Little
iMachine.
Cool.
That's like
Dope.
I want it, yeah. I like that keyboard.
Dope.
They're nice, yeah.
Well,
It's a good size, you can still move it around
Yeah.
too with that, yeah.
I'll do like a general overview of like both of them, and then how they work together, and then how they work like totally apart and everything.
Yeah, because we have the version before this, I think.
Of the keyboard?
keyboard, yeah.
Okay, cool. This one makes life 1,000 times easier.
Yeah.
You know?
I do like the pitch, like touch pitch thing on
Yeah.
it. That's like
So on here they kept one of them.
okay.
So you still have it on the
it's
bottom.
sideways. That's
Oh,
super
okay.
dope.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
regular pitch and mod wheel.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, because I remember the other one had like vertical.
Had two. Yeah, and all the real keyboard players are like,
Yeah.
I want to pitch and mod wheel again. You
Right.
know? And everyone's just like, so yeah, they brought back the
That's cool.
pitch and mod wheel.
Yeah, the audio sounds good too.
How's can I just do one more audio test real fast?
Straight video?
Yeah. You can just be over there.
Yeah, you guys are
Fire.
You don't, man.
Not gonna put any seats on.
Cool.
Nah,
Like, we can see that.
it's like a solid, yeah.
Should we move that camera?
Keep this one for like shoot.
Oh, the second.
Yeah, I can't look at that screen. That's gonna mess this whole thing up. I need to not look at that.
Is there latency? Oh yeah, there is. Okay. Did you see? Yeah, one thing that I could.
Yeah, if I were you guys, I wouldn't look at it either. It's gonna throw you guys off.
Giorgio's behind her.
All right.
Giorgio.
Cool.
Giorgio's about to give me
Mics are good.
yeah, mine's good. I don't know about.
Did you guys do a mic check on the Neumanns?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's right. Right there. You want it closer?
Yeah, that's what I was just doing too. Turn it on timer. Okay, cool. Just kind of like hint when you want me to switch screens.
I'm ready to go when you guys are.
Alright.
So, is that door staying open? We're all
Close that.
Doesn't bother me any. Which is main? Like main camera.
It's going to be
This one?
right here.
Cool. Excellent. Cool.
Actually, you know what? Let's do this one.
That one?
Yeah.
Cool. Just so I
In your face, yeah.
kind of have an idea of where I'm looking.
It might die.
If I die because of the battery, this
Okay.
is secondary.
That's fine. Right here is the
Yeah,
main.
that'll be.
All right. And GoPro's on.
GoPro's on.
Cool. I'm ready when you guys are.
Cool.
Just give me like a.
What?
How's everybody doing today? My name is Matt. I'm here with Native Instruments. Quick shout out to the Recording Connection and Abstract LA. Thanks for having us here. Today we're going to be doing a general overview on the Maschine MK3 and the new Complete Control S49 MK2. I'm basically going to do a quick run through on how they work together and how they actually work standalone, so you kind of have a great idea that you don't necessarily have to have both of them, but you can have individually. So let's kind of dive right into it. The new Maschine MK3, which just came out October 5th. This guy is basically, I like to say, it's a blend of the Mark II and the Maschine Studio. And they also took a little hint from the Maschine Jam, blended it all together into one device, and made it super portable. Best part about the Maschine, at least for me, one of my favorite parts, is the fact that it has an audio interface built in. So that's like one of the newest additions, is being able to have two inputs, two outputs, and a microphone input. So if you guys are out on the fly and you want to record with some buddies, quick plug in. You want to sample from the turntable, you want to plug a bass guitar in. It's easy to do. The other cool thing is for live performance, running stereo outputs and a headphone cue output. You can actually queue up some tracks before you guys are releasing them out to the main. So it's super convenient. All in all, on top of that, it runs off one USB cable. So I have this going straight to my computer down here. Convenience is having the screens on the units themselves, you actually don't need to see your computer. So a lot of times when I'm out like doing live demos and stuff, I'll tuck my computer away because I can literally see everything on the screens from browsing plugins to viewing my mixer to sampling, editing samples. If I want to browse through sounds, you can do it all right here on this device. So it's super cool, super compact, all in one. And we'll just go ahead and dive into it, and then halfway through I'll kind of switch over and show you how the keyboard like blends into the environment here. So let's see. For non-Maschine users, Maschine is basically an all-in-one production groove station. So it gives you the capability of being able to take external samples, also new samples, throw them into the Maschine, build full productions. One thing I like to say is Maschine is essentially a MIDI like trigger sequencing program. So being able to throw a one-shot sample on this pad and then trigger it as MIDI, it just makes your layout really easy for arrangement. But coolest thing about Maschine is if you are attached to another DAW, you can actually run this as a plugin. So if you're a Logic or Pro Tools or Ableton user, you can throw this as plugin mode and then add it to your workflow. So it's just like really easy to like put them all together. So let's go ahead and do like a quick overview here. Basically on this section I have my 16 pads. So these are all velocity sensitive drum pads. You can also use them to play keyboard, you can do chords, and you can use it as a step sequencer. So you can kind of have like, one thing I always like to say is look at the design. Design kind of speaks to you. So if these are our 16 pads. How do we change those 16 pads? We can literally switch between our different modes here, right? Over here on this side, we have our groups. Inside of each group, you can contain 16 sounds. So you can have unlimited groups. I like to personally break it up into drums. Maybe this group will have some of my instruments, my leads. Maybe this one will have vocal samples, so on and so on. The new Maschine MK3, we added this touch strip right here. So you can do different pitch bend options on notes. You have modulation. We have performance effects, which I'm going to show you guys how to add performance effects to a whole group. And then we have note mode where you can strum through notes. All in all, 2 screens, 8 knobs, they're all touch sensitive. So if I touch them, a little sub menu is going to come up. That way, before you change something, you can actually see what you're doing. Makes sense, right? And then we have a 4-way encoder that goes up, down, left, right, and then scrolls and pushes in. So quickly here, let's go ahead and load up a group. So I'm going to hit my browser here. You'll see here, these are how I navigate through all my options to see on the different screens. So browser, I can view my arrangement. If I want to view my mixer, I can mix. If I have a sample, I can edit samples. And the cool thing is you can do everything from here, from saving projects to editing your settings. Everything's right on the device. So let's go ahead and go into the browser, and we'll load in a kit here. Let's see. I have a whole bunch of expansion packs on here from Maschine. You can actually browse through projects, so we can load up full projects, which are already pre-recorded samples and patterns that are made for you, which is cool because if you want to like load up a project and then work off that to get the workflow of Maschine, you can. So let's go ahead and load up a group. What a group is going to do is it's going to load up 16 sounds in this little drum kit here. So scroll through them. Most of our groups are going to be preset up to have like 8 drum samples here, and then on top you're going to have more like chords, different maybe bass. Might have some software instruments, whether it's like Massive or Razor. You can load those into individual pads here. So on this one, I got kicks, snares, got some hats. We got some bass samples. Quickly click this sample. If I want to adjust it, I can go to edit, and I can actually shorten it up a little bit. Maybe I just want it there, or maybe I want it full how it was, right? So 16 pads, pretty self-explanatory. Let's go ahead and show you guys how to sequence here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to set my tempo. Out of the box, 120. Pretty standard, right? So I'm going to drop this down to like 100 BPM, get something a little bit more groovy here. So with Maschine, you can set it up to have a 1-bar, 2-bar, 4-bar count in, however you want to do it. Many ways to sequence, whether you want to step sequence and draw it in one at a time, or for the finger drummers if they want to play it. Or you can go one sound at a time, which is usually how I like to start recording. So what I'll do is I will hit play here, and then I'll start tracking just one at a time, and then just start layering and build on top of that, right? So let's do a little count in here. Timing is not the best here, so I quickly quantize it. Hit Shift, quantize. So what I'm set to is a 16th grid. So you can adjust that, 30 seconds, 8th notes, whatever you want to do. So I'm going to add a little bass line. Right, so the whole point of this is to keep your groove going. So what I like to do with Maschine is I tend to access it from like the backwards workflow. So I'll go ahead, start making a groove, I'll build it up to almost it's like my chorus. I make it as big as I possibly can, right? And then I work backwards. I'll take that, I'll duplicate it to another pattern, and then I'll start taking things out. The reason I do this is because it gives me a good way to like, cool, I added bass, I added synth, I added guitar. Now how do I get back to my intro? You know, there's nothing like more confusing than starting with a 2-bar loop here, and then I have an epic 2-bar loop that I can't do anything with. Like, ultimately, I want to get back and then turn it into an actual song, not just have 2 or 4 bars of like awesomeness. So we'll just go ahead and like start layering a couple sounds here. One other thing you'll see that's really cool about Maschine is if it is an audio sample, you're going to see it automatically tells you the BPM of that sample as well as what key it's in. So like, yeah, for this bass line here, it says I'm in A minor, I'm at 91 BPM. I'm a little faster, I'm at 100 just because I want to groove a little bit more, right? So let's see. Next thing we'll do is we'll add some hi-hats. Common feature in drum and production machines is note repeat. Essentially, turn note repeat on. You can hold your pad, and it's going to let you switch between different divisions. Being velocity sensitive, you can hold it lighter, play it harder. You can kind of, make it feel a little bit more human, a little bit more real, right? So I can do 16ths, 30 seconds, 8th notes, whatever I want to do here, right? I can switch between them. Triplets, dotted notes. So we'll go ahead and hit record again. So like already off the bat, like I got a nice little groove. Took a couple minutes to build, right? My hi-hats are a little loud. What am I going to do? I'm going to hit my mixer. I can access it all right here. Just turn those hi-hats down, fit them in the mix a little bit. Right? Maybe there's a little bit too much reverb on them. If I want to edit the plugin, quickly hit plugin. I can browse over. Here's my reverb. Turn the reverb down a little. Another thing I want to do. This is all very just like static right now. So like let's add a little swing to it. You can add swing to individual instruments. You can also add them to entire groups. So if I want to add it to the whole group here, I could just go to my plugin, hit channel. Let's add a little swing. Kind of like put you in the pocket a little bit, right? All right. So already we got a quick little groove. I know I'm in A minor. Next thing I want to do is kind of move over to the keyboard side of things to show you how not only does it fit in, but how I can work through my scale mode and my arpeggiators and how the light guide kind of like gives you that easy access along the way. So let's see, we're going to push this guy over here so everyone can see the keyboard. You'll see, first thing you'll notice on the keyboard here is it's extremely similar looking to the Maschine. You got your 2 screens, they're both high res, everything runs on one USB cable. So, traveling, you're on the plane, on the train, wherever you're at, you want to bring the keyboard with you, can bring it with you. So 49 key MIDI controller, this is the S49 MK2. We got the pitch and mod wheel and a nice little touch strip down here at the bottom. So you can do multi-touch, you can do different modulation, automation, all sorts of different effects here. We have the 2 screens with 8 buttons on top. Each button corresponds to what's below it on the screen. The knobs, as I showed you on the Maschine, are all touch sensitive, so if there is a menu that can pop up, it will. And then what's really great here is you can view 2 different things at the same time. So over here I'm looking at my arranger, over here I'm looking at my mixer. Or maybe I want to browse through sounds on this one while I'm arranging over here. You can kind of split it up. So it's almost like having 4 screens in front of you. Let's see, standard transport controls here, play, record, stop. One of the best things I love about this keyboard is how it works out of the box with other DAWs. So whether you're using Logic, Ableton, Nuendo, we are expanding to Cubase, Bitwig, things like that in the upcoming future here. Pull this out of the box, plug it in USB. If you're not using Maschine but you're using one of those other programs and you hit Mixer, it's automatically going to work with your mixer. So it's like having this to the side while someone's sitting in front of the computer doing things and you want to adjust levels or you want to mute tracks in and out, all of it's going to work automatically. So your mixer is going to work, mute, solo, undo, redo, all your transport controls, it just works. You know, like there's nothing worse than taking a controller home and then plugging it in, and then you're sitting there for 2 hours troubleshooting the thing on how to make it work with my software, right? So right out of the box, it just works, and it's literally like a window will pop up and say, do you want to use S49? You hit OK, and then you're in, right? So pretty standard as far as these other controls that are on here, matching the Maschine. You know, browse, plug in, everything I can do here, I can also do here. So one of my favorite parts about this keyboard is the light guide. Personally, I'm a saxophone player. So for me, I'm constantly transposing, you know, up and down, up and down. I'm not the best with theory. So if I have a guitarist come over and he's like, yo man, I'm in E minor, play an E minor. And in my head, I'm just like, all right, he's in E minor. That means I got to transpose a third. I'm getting like totally lost. The light guide here gives you the opportunity not only to view what keys are in correct scales, but also to learn along the way. So I can hit scale mode. Let's load up a quick sound here in a new group, and then I'm going to show you everybody how scale mode works. So we're going to browse. If you are using any of Complete Control, so any instruments inside of Complete, as well as anything that's NKS supported, which would be software instruments such as Sugar Bytes or Arturia, any of those plugins that work inside Complete Control, they're going to show up in our browser window here, right? So I can go through all my different attributes. For this one, first thing I'm going to load up, let's pull up like a nice Rhodes piano. So I'm going to go to sampled instruments here. Let's see, and then I'm going to go through even more attributes. You can go through individual products. So I can browse through and say I want to look inside vintage keys. And then over here I'm going to say I want a piano. I want an electric piano. This is one of my favorite parts as well. Nothing worse than browsing for sounds. You know, it's like ultimately one of the best parts of a production is finding the right sound. And to have to load up a new preset and a new patch and a new plugin every single time is just time consuming. So with the new update to the Complete Control keyboards, it also works with the MK1 keyboards, so the older ones. We put a preview mode in there. So every time you scroll through a sound, it's going to give you a small preview. So let's see. So it just gives me like a small little preview of what the sound sounds like. And then on top of that, being able to browse through all the attributes to just say, I want an electric piano. What kind of electric piano? I want sample-based. I want a Rhodes. You know, I want organ. It just makes it super, super easy. So here's a small little electric piano here. We're going to load that guy up. And then I'm going to turn scale mode on. So I'm going to hit Shift, Scale, and we're going to turn this on. And now I can pick my root key. So I'm going to say, in this song, we are in A minor. And there's multiple types of scales in here. So as I scroll through, you'll see there's chromatic, major, minor, blues, Japanese, pentatonic. There's, you know, half, whole, diminished. There's tons of different scales, and we're always expanding. So I can go ahead and set my minor, and you'll see as I change through these, the light guide changes depending on what scale I'm in. So right now I'm in A minor. We have 3 separate modes. Easy mode. Inside easy mode eliminates sharps and flats. So for your non-keyboard players, play all the white keys. It's always in the right scale, right? You're always in the right key, you don't have to worry. And then we can go up to mapped mode. What mapped mode does is it shows you all the correct keys, and if you play a wrong one, it's going to redirect you to the right key. So if I play this F sharp, it's going to redirect me to the F, right? And then you have guide mode, which shows you the scale, but then you can play any keys out of the scale, but it shows you what the correct keys are to play. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in mapped mode. And another awesome feature here, so I could play, if I play the wrong key, you'll see it'll redirect it. Let's turn this guy up. Boom. Select sound. Cool. So now I have scale mode on. I'm also going to turn on my chords. So inside Complete Control as well as on the machine, if I'm in chord mode here, it's going to automatically let up on my chords. On here I could say, what kind of chord do I want to play? I want to play a harmony. I want to play a 1, 3, 5. So automatically if I hit one key, you're going to hear it play the chord. And there's tons of chords. So these are just a couple preset. Here's a 1, 5. Here's a 1, 4, 5. 1, 3, 5, 7s. 1, 4, 7s. And what's cool is when you hit record, in the software it actually records all the individual notes. So later on if you want to go back and make an adjustment, you can move all those notes around, right? Right? So you can use this as a way to learn, and that's my favorite part, is just knowing that if you don't know music theory, I can get this keyboard and not only am I playing correct all the time, I can learn how to play my scales. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play again. So let's see, maybe I want to view my arranger and see what's going on here. So then we want to hit record. You're going to see it start, so I can play down some chords. Or maybe I don't like that chord, I want to undo it, right? We'll start again here. Cool. So just like that, quickly lay down some chords. Right? Maybe I want to add another sound onto this. So while it's playing, the fact that it's always looping, I could just keep stacking sounds. So we can go ahead and say, now I want a synth. And I'm just going to go from the top and say I want a synth lead. And I want a mono synth, totally monophonic. You already hear it's giving me those previews, right? Cool, let's load that one in. So now I'm on a new patch here. So even by me just playing all my sharps and flats, I'm still in the right scale, right? So it automatically saves your scales for ongoing patches. That's the other cool part. So you're always in the right key here. Let's see if I want to add a little. All my pitch and mod wheels are the same. Once again, this is a little loud. I'm going to turn this guy down, right? All right, so let's add this, and then we're going to do a quick sequence on how the whole thing works together. So we'll just hit play. Cool. Simple, right? Nothing crazy. All right, so now we're going to go back and we're going to take that and just sequence it into something to actually make an intro and then make a small little verse, and it'll just blend through. So we're going to switch back to machine here. Make sure you guys are all capturing this. Cool, so you'll see here, if I go to my patterns, I have one pattern here, which is going to be, let's solo this. So here's one pattern. Small roads, got a lead in there. And then if I go to my drums, let's unsolo the drums. So in my drums, I also have my pattern. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take all these individual instruments and turn them into a song here. So we're going to switch over to sequence mode, and we're going to start a new scene, right? And in scene 1, let's say I want to have pattern 1 that has my drums in it, right? Let's see. So in scene 1, let's unsolo. We'll go here and put this pattern in here. Cool, so we got a drum kit in scene 1, right? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate this pattern so I can start taking things out of it. So we're gonna go to pattern, we're going to quickly hit duplicate, and now I have 2 of the identical same patterns. Both 2 bars, both of them have the same kicks and snares, but in pattern 1 I'm going to start deleting some stuff. So let's go to the arranger. First thing I'm going to do is take these hi-hats out. So I can select my hi-hats, clear. Then maybe I also want to take the kick and snare out, why not? just for all extensive purposes here. So I can delete those. We're going to start with just a bass line, right? Now we're going to move on to the next scene. So we could title this one intro if we want. Right now it's 2 bars. We can even, let's make it 4 bars. So quickly, I can just hit my patterns, double it. Now you'll see it's gone to 4 bars, right? So we have 4-bar bass line pattern. Now we're going to go into the next scene, and we're going to start duplicating some more patterns here. So we're going to add the full drums in. And then we're also going to add in this little guy, right? And then we could take, what we could do is we could take this here pattern and we'll duplicate this one as well and delete the lead out of it. So we can go events, click this guy, and clear him. So now in scene 1, I'm going to have, let's see, we're going to put the Rhodes in the bass line. Simple intro. Just Rhodes in the bass line here. I'm going to move over to scene 2, which is going to give me my full drums. And we're going to bring that little lead back in. And we could double this one too, make it 4 bars. So now if I link them together from scene 1 to scene 2, you'll see how it makes this little loop on the top here. And I hit restart, it's going to play it from the beginning. It's going to go into my next scene automatically. So the whole looping side of things just gives you that workflow of being able to just constantly add and layer sounds, right? So maybe now I want to use my touch strip for some cool stuff. Maybe I'm performing this live, or I want to record a low pass filter. So let's just work in scene 2 because it's got the most of our instruments. So I'm going to go to performance effects here. And what a performance effect does is it applies an effect on the whole group. So right now this is going to automate the frequency sweep of a filter. So if I hit play, and it's going to do it on whatever group I'm selected on. So if I want to do it on the drum group, right? And there's tons of effects and filters, so I can do some stutters. You can do scratchers. Do some ring modulation. And being multi-touch, you can, and you can record all this. So if I want to record a filter, I just hold auto. And now you're going to see it automatically record what I did. So just like that quick, simple workflow of being able to take what's here, put it here, and then like move on to the next one. That's like my favorite part about Maschine is the workflow and how everything works together in one environment. It's just like seamless, whether you're using just this, maybe you're using Tractor, or if you're using Ableton and you want to put all of those together, like everything just works, right? So that's the best part about like how they work together and how they work standalone. The other quick real thing that I'll show you guys is the notes here, right? So on this touch strip, you can go to keyboard mode, and if we're in notes, you can use this to like strum through different notes, or maybe you only want to play these notes. And turn that off here. Maybe we want to play like just these. So you can also do your pitch and modulation. And then same thing, if this whole thing is playing here, I can record all the automation here. So then it just puts the automation on there. So it's like it's very easy to like quickly add and just keep adding and layering. And then just take that, maybe I want to take that intro and bring it back later on and turn that into my bridge and add more drums and add 808s, and like you can just keep stacking. So yeah, that's kind of like a general overview of how Maschine and Komplete work together. I'm going to load up a project that already has some like pre-recorded samples and like it's kind of a whole outline of a song. And then I want to get into ideas mode. Ideas mode is it's a concept based around taking your song and trying different pieces of each song with different placements. So you can say, I want to take my bridge and throw it in the intro, and like kind of try out different arrangements to feel like what you can do with your song and where you can actually take it. So we're going to load up, it's actually right here, Trap 101. It's clearly the first version of Trap. All right, let's see here. So we'll go to the browser, and I'm actually going to push this back over the keyboard because this is kind of one of my favorite ways I like to trigger it here. Let's see, hopefully this guy doesn't fall. All right, so if I go to my scenes here, you're going to see I have all these different scenes, right? So let's just hit play here. And I can switch through all my patterns. So you'll see here's one pattern with just 808s. All right, we're going to go to the next scene. We'll turn that one off. So on this one, I have a whole bunch of different patterns. Some snare rolls, a couple different sounds. And I can quickly just switch between them. And what's cool is like, because everything's following a master tempo, it's always in time. So if I want to use this track to perform live, I could start adding stuff. Let's go to the next one here. Alright, and maybe I want to cut this guy completely, right? So it's like being able to take all these different ideas and different patterns that I made, and now I can decide what do I want to put where. Let's bring these little vocal chops in. And then you can make adjustments so you can do all your performance effects at the same time. And we can bring drums back in. So it's that workflow, you know? So now me, like, I might have just accidentally put the bridge with the intro drums and the bass line from the outro and, made this happy accident of this idea that I would have never tried without having the opportunity just to switch patterns around. Whereas normally in a standard, like DAW, you're copying this whole section and then moving it all the way over here. Then you got to copy all the automation. And you're spending more time arranging than actually like grooving and creating. So that's another really great feature about the keyboard and the Maschine is how they just give you those opportunities to come up with ideas that you wouldn't normally have come up with. That's I'd say a general overview of the Native Instruments Complete Control S49 and the Maschine Mark III. I want to thank everybody for coming out and watching the whole thing, and I hope everyone took something home with them today.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, dope.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you, guys.
No problem. Thank you.
So when you import audio files into there, do they automatically warp to like your tempo of the?
Yeah, so that when you... That on the one, right? like the workflow, you know, the
Yeah.
workflow of like I started with just a whole bunch of random sounds I've never used before, and then just like
You can get it going that quick.
turn them
yeah,
into something,
yeah.
right? Yeah, it's super rad, super rad.
So if you like say if you're like recording like guitar or something and you record it in here, can you like quantize that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can take your samples and like it'll show you the sample, right? So we can take this, yeah, we can slice if I want to detect by transients. So I can literally take individual slices here.
Oh wow.
Or you can move all these around. You can do it on manual mode, and then you can also, if you don't want to do it this way, you have all your time stretching. I can reverse if I want to reverse it. Right, so I can literally like do everything from time stretching to like fixing BPM, like all right here. Yeah, I usually do a demo where like I plug my phone in, I just sample off my phone,
Yeah.
and like it's so crazy just being able to pull up YouTube and just
That's
like
so insane.
what do we, you know?
Yeah.
That's
That's
like one of
cool.
my other demos I do. And you could just take a sample, chop it up, add drums behind it, little 808s, and you're
That's
just like,
so cool.
now I have an idea of a song.
Yeah. That's
Yep.
crazy.
Yep.
Super fast.
Yeah, it's crazy workflow. Crazy.
Yeah.
And as I said, like, you know, it is like learning a DAW. So if you're already like, personally, I'm a Logic user. Like I love Logic. I use it every day. I run Maschine in Logic as a plugin. And it just makes my drum sequencing like I could bang out drums all day, and it's just like, oh cool, I love that part. Let me just move that down there. So yeah, how they work together with other platforms is super cool too.
You can save your own like say if you have like 16 pads, you can make your own individual like saved.
Yeah, you just
preset.
drag and drop them on each pad.
Save it.
Yeah, save it. You
Then
just drag and drop a
just,
wave
is
or
there,
a.
like, a user library, or just save it under. Like,
Yeah, you could save all. You can literally save it, and then you can also add attributes to it.
Oh wow.
So if you want to go in there and say like this is a digital kick, you can literally label it as like kick digital, and then when you're browsing through all of your different sounds, it's going to show up there. Or you can have favorites. Yeah, you can do all that.
Nice.
Yep.
So is there like a limit to how many effects you can have on like because it's like how many knobs is that 8?
So it's 8 knobs, but you have unlimited pages.
Yeah. Okay.
So
it's like a
yeah, how
up down kind of thing.
yeah, how it works is like on the plugin, like here now I'm on an EQ, and then you'll see like if I go to the next screen, I can hit plus here, and I can load up like a reverb or whatever.
Yeah.
I go to the next one, and I can load up, beat delay. And then if you want to use external plugins, you can just drag and drop those here. So it runs VSTs, AUs, same way.
Okay.
So yeah, even if you're not using like complete stuff, like you're using Omnisphere, Trillion or something, you can totally load those up as a pad and use them there.
Yeah. So what's the difference between so you said this is like the standard. So you have like isn't this a studio? Is that what's called? Like
This is the
more
Mark
larger
III.
version? Okay.
The Studio is a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
It has the same 2 screens.
Okay.
This came out after the Studio.
Oh, okay.
So this is like the upgraded Mark II. They added the interface, they added the screens on here, and yeah, basically just made it much more compact. Yeah, the Studio is a little bit bigger. It's like this big. It's got a big jog wheel on the side,
Okay. Nice.
which is nice for like browsing and like
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
automation and stuff. But this is just like ridiculously portable. Like
Yeah.
I came here today with this in my backpack and this keyboard in my keyboard bag, and like
That's insane. It's like an
Like
interface
that.
too. So
Yep.
it's similar to like the Native Instruments interface.
it's
right?
it's
like the
20
exact same.
96K 24-bit,
Okay. So
2
you can-
ins, 2 outs.
Oh yeah, so you can basically just like plug your microphone and your speakers all just in.
All right in. Yeah, so it's like for new people who want to get stuff like all in one, but also I'm just like, yeah, if you want to travel and sample, there's nothing worse than I go to my buddy's house, I pull out my machine, then I pull out my interface. I gotta wire everything up real fast just to get like a small sample that I wanted from one of his keyboards or something, So it's like, cool, bring this, plug it in, go ahead, plug DI in and hit start on sampling. Yeah, it's super easy. I compare it to the interface. I compare it to a lot of like the Motu or like the RME stuff.
Okay.
Like personally, I'm an Apollo user. I love my Apollo.
Yeah,
I track
yeah.
vocals, I track my saxophone, all that stuff in an Apollo. But if I just want to capture a sample or something, like I absolutely use this interface.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't like compare it to something of like that nature, but that's totally different ballpark.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you just want to like track do some quick recording, send some outputs to something, like no easier way than here.
So instead of like turning the volume down on like the interface, you just use this and like the mixing mode.
Yep, yeah, so you can do it in Mixer, you just turn your master down, or you have volume controls on the
it's in
back.
Okay.
So you have like headphone volume, output volume, and then this is a mic preamp.
Okay.
So yeah, if you want to run a mic in, you can just turn the preamp up. It does only do dynamic mics, but if you wanted to use like a 48 volt, phantom power box, plug that in and then plug it into here, same thing. Yep.
So it records in like mono. Can you switch to stereo?
Well, it depends. If you're going two inputs, it's stereo. Question is, yeah. I don't ever say price because everyone, different retailers price it differently. But at Native we sell it for $5.99.
Okay.
So it's like same price as the old MK2. They didn't change the price on it. Yeah, but yeah, if you're running both inputs in, it would be a stereo track. Yeah, it would be a recording stereo. If you're going just like solo with the mic, it's just going to be a mono track. Yep.
Are you guys adding more synths to like the complete controller?
I hope so, man.
We still have to custom map serum and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's something that's not NKS supported.
Yeah.
So like with the cool thing is with the serum stuff, if you are running, you can run serum inside complete control, right?
Yeah, we just gotta like map everything out, right?
Most of it's pre-mapped.
Oh, okay.
It may not necessarily like give you the nice titles like oscillator 1.
Yeah.
It might say like oscillator 1 78685, whatever like the mapping shows. But most of it's pretty much mapped. The cool thing about running external plugins in complete control is being able to use like the scales and the arpeggiators.
That's
So
a game changer.
yeah, you can use all that stuff with external plugins. Yeah.
You did away with the power cable too?
Yeah, no power cable.
Nice.
So on both of them, it's just like one USB. That was the other like
Super,
big.
yeah.
Yeah, everyone was just like, I gotta plug my power cable in every single time, right? So yeah, just one plug. Yep.
And then there's a mod wheel and a touch strip.
Mod wheel, pitch bend, and touch strip.
Dope.
Yep.
How much is that one?
The keyboard,
Yeah.
same price, $5.99.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the 61, $6.99.
Okay.
So yeah, it depends which size you want.
Definitely. That one's still, like you said, portable still. Like, it's pretty easy to move
Yeah,
around.
I had a 61, which now I leave at the studio.
Yeah.
And I demo with this because like it's
a
just
lot easier
too
to
big.
take around.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
honestly, this is enough to like where I showed you. I could throw it in scale mode, play a chord. I could go down an octave, play another chord, and then like I don't have to actually like carry a massive keyboard.
You said it's pre-mapped to a lot of DAWs already?
Yeah, right now, well, I think they just expanded. It's 3 right now, so it's Logic, Ableton, Nuendo.
Okay.
And then the expansion, which I think it comes out in December, is supposed to be Bitwig, Cubase, Studio One.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening with Pro Tools.
Okay. Yeah.
Nobody knows what's happening with Pro Tools. Nobody knows. Yeah. And I don't know about FL either. That's a good question.
That would be cool.
Yeah, with FL. I know a lot of people use FL.
Yeah,
So.
definitely. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you guys are welcome to come up and check it out if you want, man. Yeah, it's
This is the only piano that has like a scale, like, right?
no, the previous Mark 1 has the scale mode too.
Yeah.
You guys have the Mark 1 here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has scale mode. Same thing. It shows you the screens. It just has like the 8 small screens.
Yeah.
But you can still like go in there and set all your scales. Those are all just software updates. It's same with the preview mode.
Okay.
So even with the older one, while you're browsing, it'll give you a small sample of every sound.
Okay.
So yeah, that's another one where like it's backwards compatible. They still made it work with the older stuff. Even the Maschine Mark 1, the one that came out 9 or 10 years ago, still works with the software. Still works with like scales and chords, like it all still works. So it's like that's like one of my favorite parts about NI is like if you buy something even that's old or if you bought it a long time ago, you're not like, oh, there's a new update, you got to go buy the new one for it to work. It's still compatible with the older stuff.
Yep. Really nice.
So yeah, we still support the older keyboards. We still support the newer, like everything. Yeah. Yep. And then the other thing is like if you're selected on a pad, it's just gonna pitch that pad up and down.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you know, if you go to key mode here, then you'll play these 16 pads. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's crazy, man. They're super wild. Like yeah, the workflow is just awesome.
They're like kind of like the airy, like. How do you classify that? Like what's you have a pack that's kind of like that? I like this now. Yeah, that's where we get one of the.
We get one of those shirts.
One of the shirts? Everyone wants the shirts, man. Everyone wants shirts. I know they just printed more. I don't know what the whole shirt is. We do workshops, like a lot of like, they're called native sessions.
Okay.
We usually do like 2 a year. Hopefully they're gonna do more. But they're massive, like native events.
Oh, wow, okay.
And usually at those events they give out like a whole bunch of swag.
They're down here in LA.
Yeah, they're all in LA.
Oh, okay.
The last one we did was at Noya House,
Nice.
which is in Hollywood. We did like a whole like rooftop. We had a whole bunch of performing artists, and it was just
sweet,
like
yeah.
it was to like show the new machine and stuff. Yeah, but usually we do like 2 a year. Sometimes they're on like composing. Sometimes they're on like just like production, beat production. One time, the one we had earlier this year, it was like Cookie Monster, Hit Boy, and Zed was there, and they just did like
Nice.
discussion on like native products and
Yeah.
their workflow and stuff. So.
That's super cool. Yeah.
I don't know about shirts though.
Yeah.
I don't know about shirts. Maybe there's someone in there that knows about the shirts.
Yeah, sure.
I'll ask Alyssa. Might know about the
Yeah.
like if I don't know what they're gonna do. Yeah, crazy, man. They're super crazy.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you guys for sitting in and
Yeah, of course.
and watching the thing. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully you got something out of it, you know.
Definitely did. Yeah.
And you see the whole like just the workflow is awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So
Nice.
we'll turn this guy off. I guess
I think we're good. Yeah.
we're all good. Everything's covered.